Have you ever buried yourself in hours of studying, skipped hangouts with friends, and sacrificed precious free time, only to end up with the same grade as that friend who crammed last minute and didn't even break a sweat? That kind of disappointment feels like a betrayal of your own effort. But before you start blaming yourself, take a step back. The problem isn't your dedication, it's your method. It's outdated, exhausting, and wildly inefficient. Now imagine this. What if you could study just 20% of the time and still rank at the top of your class? No more giving up your weekends, no more late-night stress sessions, and no more feeling overwhelmed. The strategies you're about to discover aren't shortcuts in the bad sense. They're smart, effective, and shockingly underused. Let's dive in. 1. Say goodbye to sweets. Stop sabotaging your brain before studying. It might seem harmless to grab a candy bar or sip on a sugary drink before hitting the books, especially when stress kicks in. But here's the truth. Sugar before studying is like pouring sand into a car engine. It slows down your brain's processing speed, making it harder to concentrate, easier to feel drained, and far more difficult to retain information. What feels like a quick energy boost is actually setting you up for mental fog and fatigue. Scientific studies have confirmed this. Research from institutions like UCLA has shown that high sugar intake negatively impacts cognitive performance, reducing memory and focus. The sharp spikes and crashes in blood sugar levels after consuming sweets leave your brain confused and sluggish, not sharp and alert like you need it to be during study sessions. Instead of reaching for sugary snacks, fuel your brain with smart choices. Berries, walnuts, almonds, and salmon are rich in brain-boosting nutrients that enhance memory, improve attention span, and keep you feeling energized without the crash. These natural foods support optimal brain function and give you a steady supply of mental clarity, something sugar simply can't provide. If you want your study time to count, skip the candy and opt for foods that actually support your brain. Think of it like choosing premium fuel for a high-performance engine. Your brain is capable of amazing things, but only if you give it the right tools. So the next time you sit down to study, leave the sweets behind and choose smarter fuel. Your memory, your focus, and your results will thank you. 2. Boring study sessions, it's all in your mindset. Your brain is more obedient than you think. It listens to every belief you feed it, whether helpful or harmful. If you sit down to study already convinced that it's going to be boring, endless, and mentally exhausting, then that's exactly the experience you'll have. You've essentially programmed your mind for a dreadful session before even opening your notebook. But here's the twist. The brain is also easy to trick. Tell yourself, this won't take long, or this part's easy, and your brain begins to respond differently. You'll notice tasks feel lighter, time passes faster, and your focus sharpens naturally. What seemed overwhelming just minutes ago starts to feel doable. Harvard researchers have found that belief alone can impact performance. In one study, workers who simply believed their physical labor was good exercise showed measurable health improvements, lower blood pressure, reduced weight, and increased energy, without changing their routines. The same principle applies to learning. Your thoughts shape your reality. By shifting your mindset from "this is torture" to "I'll finish this quickly," you aren't just using empty affirmations. You're activating real neurological changes that enhance focus and motivation. It's not wishful thinking, it's strategy. So the next time you're dreading a study session, pause. Replace "I hate this" with "I'll be done in 30 minutes." Train your brain to expect ease, not struggle. You'll be amazed at how different learning can feel, not because the material changed, but because your approach did. A powerful mindset is the ultimate study hack. 3. Use a timer. Don't let your emotions control your study sessions. If you leave your study time open-ended, your brain will treat it like an infinite stretch of obligation, and procrastination will creep in like clockwork. This isn't just a bad habit, it's a psychological principle known as Parkinson's Law, which says that work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. So, if you tell yourself, "I have all day to study," guess what? It's going to take all day, and probably not be productive either. Now flip the strategy. Set a countdown timer for 30 minutes. Suddenly your brain shifts into high gear. It senses urgency. You're no longer drifting aimlessly through pages or passively rereading. You're in sprint mode. Every second counts, and because you've set a clear boundary, your mind becomes laser-focused. Dividing your study time into short, timed intervals helps you avoid burnout and maintain high levels of concentration. Known as the Pomodoro Technique, this method trains your brain to work in bursts of deep focus, followed by short breaks to recharge. It's a simple trick, but it works wonders for productivity and mental stamina. The goal isn't to study longer, it's to study smarter. A well-spent 30 minutes with full attention is more valuable than 3 hours of distracted, half-hearted effort. So stop studying based on how you feel. Start studying based on strategy. Grab a timer, set the clock, and commit to focused action. When the buzzer rings, take a break, then repeat. You'll get more done in less time with less stress. That's the real secret to effective learning. 4. Focus on what really matters. Don't dig for gold in a desert. Studying everything might sound noble, but it's not always smart. The truth is, you don't need to remember everything. You just need to master the right things. That's where the 80-20 rule comes in, a principle that says 20% of the material will usually account for 80% of the questions on your exam. It's not about working harder, it's about working smarter. Instead of drowning in pages of irrelevant theory and obscure details, target what truly counts. Focus on the concepts your teacher emphasizes again and again. Review past exams, identify the recurring themes, commonly tested areas, and chapter summaries. These are your academic gold mines. Think of it this way. Would a prospector waste time digging randomly in a barren desert hoping to strike gold? Of course not. They'd go straight to the areas most likely to yield results. The same logic applies to studying. Don't waste hours rereading every sentence in your textbook when only a fraction of it will be useful. Be strategic. Skim over the fluff. Dive deep into the key ideas that form the backbone of your subject. Practice problems that mirror actual exam formats. Summarize your learnings and test yourself repeatedly on the core material. Studying isn't about showing off how much you've read. It's about results. If you focus your time and energy on the 20% that truly matters, you'll be better prepared, more confident, and far less stressed. Skip the noise, follow the signal. That's how you study like a pro. 5. Start with the answers. Then work backward to the questions. You don't need to flip through your entire textbook from page 1. Instead, start where it matters most. The questions and answers. Why? Because questions reveal what truly matters to examiners. They're like a cheat sheet to the mind of the test maker, showing you exactly what knowledge is prioritized and how it's evaluated. When you study this way, beginning with questions and answers, you're not just memorizing facts, you're reverse engineering the system. You learn to recognize patterns in how questions are phrased, what types of answers score the most points, and how certain topics are frequently tested. This method transforms you from a passive reader into an active strategist. Think about it. If you're preparing for battle, wouldn't you want to see the battlefield first? Starting with the answers gives you that map. You see what matters most, and then you can trace back through your materials to understand the why and how behind those answers. It's a more direct path to mastery. Even better, many exams repeat similar formats or themes. If you spend your time mastering previous questions and understanding model answers, you're likely preparing for what's coming, not just what's already passed. So ditch the endless reading and start where the action is. Begin with the questions. Analyze the answers, then dig deeper only when necessary. This isn't cutting corners, it's cutting waste. Study like someone who knows where to aim. That's how you win without burning out. 6. Don't avoid your weak spots, face them to break through. It's tempting to review the topics you're already good at. They make you feel confident, productive, and in control. But here's the truth. Exams rarely test your strengths. They expose your weaknesses. The questions that trip you up, the chapters you skip, the concepts you've been avoiding, that's exactly where you need to focus if you truly want to improve. Progress doesn't come from staying in your comfort zone. It comes from diving into the areas that make you uncomfortable, the ones that challenge you, frustrate you, and force you to think harder. That's where growth lives. Start each study session by identifying your weakest topic. Tackle it first. Break it down. Ask questions. Use videos, diagrams, or AI tools to understand it from different angles. Don't stop until you feel more in control than confused. You'll be surprised how quickly your fear turns into mastery once you stop avoiding it. And don't just study isolated topics in silos. Connect ideas across subjects. If you're learning about the immune system, link it to related topics like inflammation, autoimmune disorders, or even cellular biology. When you build bridges between concepts, your understanding becomes deeper, more flexible, and far more resilient under exam pressure. In short, stop polishing what already shines. Focus on what's still rough. That's how diamonds are made. By facing your weaknesses, you don't just prepare better for the test. You become a stronger, more confident learner overall. 7. AI, your 24/7 personal tutor in the modern age. In today's world, studying alone is optional. You're no longer stuck with textbooks and guesswork. With tools like ChatGPT, you now have access to a full-time personal tutor, one that's available 24/7 and never gets tired and can adapt to your learning style instantly. AI can summarize entire textbooks in seconds, explain complex concepts in plain language, generate practice questions, and even help you build personalized study plans. It takes the guesswork out of learning and replaces it with precision, speed, and clarity. Instead of spending hours rereading dry material and hoping something sticks, you can ask targeted questions and get exactly what you need, instantly. But here's the key. Like any tool, AI only works if you use it wisely. Learn how to give clear prompts, ask the right questions, and let the AI guide you towards smarter study strategies. The time you'll save is massive, and the mental energy you preserve can be directed toward actually understanding, not just memorizing. Want to go even further? Don't miss the special 250 Smart Prompts collection linked in the comments, a curated list designed to supercharge your studying. These prompts help you learn faster, revise smarter, and stay ahead of the curve. They're ready to use, completely free, and built for students who want to study like hackers, efficiently, strategically, and with zero wasted effort. So stop struggling in silence. AI is here to help, and it's one of the smartest decisions you can make in your academic journey. 8. Track your mistakes, so you never repeat them again. Every mistake you make is a lesson in disguise. But if you don't capture those lessons, they'll vanish, and you'll likely repeat the same errors again and again. That's why keeping a dedicated mistake log is one of the smartest habits you can build as a student. Instead of brushing off wrong answers or forgotten facts, write them down. Use a notebook, a digital app, or even a simple Notion page. Record what went wrong, why it happened, and what the correct approach should have been. Over time, this mistake tracker becomes your most powerful study tool. A personalized map of where you've stumbled and how to avoid those traps in the future. Before exams, this log becomes pure gold. Rather than reviewing everything randomly, you can go straight to the areas where you've actually struggled. This laser-focused revision is far more effective than rereading entire chapters that you've already mastered. But the benefits go beyond better memory. When you face your mistakes head-on, you build real confidence. You're no longer afraid of difficult topics, because you've already wrestled with them. You've learned from the fall, and that makes your understanding deeper and more resilient. So don't treat mistakes as failures. Treat them as stepping stones. Every error is a teacher, and every correction is progress. Write them down, revisit them often, and use them to level up. Success isn't about being perfect. It's about being wise enough to never make the same mistake twice. Conclusion. Study smart, not hard. Studying isn't a life or death battle. It's not a race to read every page in the textbook before you earn the right to walk into the exam room. The real key to success lies not in the number of hours you grind, but in how strategically you use them. Learning should be smart, flexible, and intentional, not exhausting, overwhelming, or blind. Don't let others outperform you just because they've learned how to study better, not harder. While some students struggle for hours with outdated methods, others leap ahead by using techniques that maximize time, energy, and focus. It's not about luck. It's about knowing how to play the game right. These strategies aren't shortcuts. They're upgrades. When you learn how to identify what matters, how to manage your mindset, how to focus on weaknesses, and how to use modern tools like AI, You transform your learning experience from stressful to powerful. And remember, every efficient hour of study gives you more time for the things that truly matter. Rest, hobbies, friendships, peace of mind. That's the real reward of smart studying. Not just better grades, but a better life balance. So, start now. Don't wait for another round of burnout or another disappointing result to force a change. Adopt these strategies today and watch how studying becomes not just easier, but actually more rewarding. The difference isn't in your intelligence, it's in your approach.